Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. And in today's video, I'm going to kind of talk about two things. So, we're getting pretty close to income tax season. So, depending on your situation, you might have some money coming in that way. But the big thing on a lot of people's minds is another stimulus check coming out. And, you know, some people have heard it's the 2000. It's looking a lot more like it's going to be the 1400, but it's looking like another stimulus check. So today's video, I kind of want to talk about my plans with that $1,400. None of this is really set. Only one thing on my list is set in stone for what I'm going to do with said money. And then the other things are just you know, I could do this, I could do that. And it leaves me with, I've got about 10 options for what I can use for it. There are pros and cons for all of them. As a prepper, I've said it before, it's all about storing resources and being able to protect your resources, which then provide for you and keep you alive. So, one of the things that I will say that you probably shouldn't purchase with it is maybe another firearm um, or ammunition. The one caveat that I have to that is, I just purchased a 300 blackout upper. I only have 40 rounds for it, so I might end up buying one or two boxes, but I'm not, dedicating $500 to more ammo. Um, so if you're a new shooter and you've just purchased a handgun, you've just purchased your first shotgun or your first rifle, then um, in the past, I've made videos saying you should have 1,000 rounds for each main rifle, 500 for your pistol, and 500 for your shotgun. Um, Now, with the price of ammo being double, and in some cases triple what it was before, I would say a few hundred rounds would be a good amount. And if you plan on trying to actively train, whether you're getting a CHL or you're doing different live fire exercises, maybe having 50 to 100 rounds that you're using each month and maintaining, two or 300 rounds, four or five magazines, whatever your case is for your firearm. So, for instance, having 200 rounds for a Mosin is an okay amount, and the ammo's not that expensive. But for training purposes, you're not going to put, 50 to 100 rounds downrange with this. I mean, with this guy, you might, put 40 or 50, and that's, it has a lot of kick, and you're definitely going to feel it in the morning. Same thing with the shotgun. You might go through a box of clay pigeons. So you might go through, let's set that back up. You might go through 2 or 3 boxes of shotgun shells. Um, it's really only, your pistols and like a battle rifle that you want to be putting more ammo through it. Um, I am going to make a video on training with, less ammo or it's more expensive, so you don't want to shoot as much as you normally do. And, you know, the only other caveat I would say to this is I've put 0 rounds through the 300 blackout with the scope on it. So I'll probably use 10 to 15 of the rounds in this 20 round magazine to get it zeroed in exactly where I want it to. So on to, I've talked about guns and ammo. That's kind of one, but it's not one for me, except, 2 boxes for the 300 blackout. The only thing that I have set in stone at this moment is putting away $250 for my emergency room copay. I really don't even know if that is a high copay. I've seen a couple higher. Haven't really seen any lower, but $250 is not getting touched. It's getting put away, and that will at least, you know, deal with the entry fee if I get seriously injured. And then I'll probably have to have a payment plan depending on, what insurance covers and what it doesn't. But most people, it was probably 5 or 10 years ago at this point. 47% of Americans don't even have, an emergency fund for a $500 emergency. Uh, I don't remember much about this study. I've talked about it in the past before, but I'm setting that aside. I mean, I kind of have the 250 already, um, but I don't really have it set aside. It's kind of, the beginning of the month, putting money away, kind of getting ready for, rent for the next month. But whenever the stimulus check comes in, $250, it's straight, not getting touched. And so, next thing, I'll occasionally look down at my whiteboard and look at some stuff. The next thing I have on here is committing it'll be about $250 $300 to putting away a large amount of rice and beans based off of caloric and the pounds that you're putting away. So as of right now, I have 8 5-gallon buckets, mylar bagged, oxygen absorbed. One's oats, two are beans, uh, and the other 5 are rice. And what are you doing in here? Got a little buggy in here. Probably trying to get a hold of the food that he can't get to because it's in a 5-gallon bucket in a mylar bag. But I would say if you have no food put away in mylar bags, or you don't have a large supply of Mountain House food, most of your preps are rotated through cans and stuff, and canned goods have a 2 to 3 year shelf life, so you have 2 or 3 years worth of food, but it's constantly being rotated. I've had the rice and beans inside of the containers for over a year, um, and they've got at least 24 more years to them, if not more. The reason why I say that is most food products, they can't they can't guarantee it because the testing hasn't been done for them to write it down. But, people have eaten Mountain House food that's 30, 40 years old. And as long as it doesn't have an odd smell to it and no mold, that kind of thing, your food's good. So the components to this are, a Sam's Club, Costco. Those are the two big ones I can think of. Getting 50-pound bags of rice and 50-pound bags of beans. Um, for the rice part, the only one I remember is they hold about 33 pounds worth of rice. So two 50-pound bags will fill up roughly 3 5-gallon buckets. So you need rice, you need mylar bags. The first time around, I did the 5-gallon bags. These next set that I'll do 1 gallon or maybe even half-gallon. That way I don't have to crack open, a big 5-gallon bag, and I have to probably use that, fairly shortly because it's not, sealed and protected anymore. So I'll use 1 or half-gallon. Yeah, I would recommend 1 gallon. There's nothing wrong with going the 5-gallon side or pint, quart, any mylar bags that you get sealed properly with an oxygen absorber with rice and beans, you're good to go. So, two 50-pound bags, 3 5-gallon buckets, your choice of size of mylar bag, and then based off of the size of the mylar bag is the oxygen absorber that you put inside of it. I don't remember the cc's off the top of my head for what I put in the 5-gallon. I do remember what the minimum was, and then I went the next step higher. That's the only thing I remember from that. So that's the food aspect of it. The water aspect is purchase what you need to store a month's worth of water. And that can vary from household to household. Not only the number of people you have, but also how you can store it. So for the longest time, I stored most of my water in 1 gallon containers like this. This is a fruit punch one, and 2 liter bottles of rinsed out soda bottles and stuff. And I still do that because if I drink soda, I don't want to waste the bottle. Then I upgraded to 6 and 5 gallon containers. Yeah, I'll pick the camera up. I don't want to have to pick that up. This one is 5, and this one is 6. And that's more of like an apartment style. You don't really have the space for a 55-gallon jug. I've never done the stackable containers. I've always got my water containers from Walmart or Craigslist. I've done the Army water 5 gallon ones, which look better than that light blue one, but I've got a couple of those, and I have one 55-gallon drum. Rinsed out. I'm pretty sure I did a video on, cleaning it and getting it prepared to put water in it. And when I say different households, I have a garage that I can leave the 55-gallon drum in. I don't have to bring it inside. I definitely am not going to cart it upstairs. But you also need to take into consideration your pets. So I have the 55-gallon drum. I have 4 of the taller blue ones that I just showed you, and 2 of the smaller, and then however many 2-liter containers. And I have enough water for 2 people and my pets for like 39 days, I think is what I calculated it to. But I think that was before I got a dog. So probably closer to 35 days. I don't know yet. But I have a month's worth of water stored up. And another option for me is to get another 55-gallon drum, buy 10, 6, and 5-gallon containers. And then on top of that, kind of going out of the way is making sure you have a way to purify it, whether it's using this guy or I have it sitting in here. Oh, this guy. And this needs to get rotated fairly often as well, because it breaks apart and becomes fairly useless in the disinfecting area of water and killing bugs and bacteria for you. But that's kind of on the smaller level. The bigger level is spending a decent amount of money to just have the storage to store water. And so that's another option for your $1,400 check. The magic whiteboard. The next one is 6 months worth of food for your pets. So I made a video not too long ago talking about prepping for your pets. The way we do it with their normal bagged dry food, we have a full year's worth of food for them. And just like, you've seen the little storage things for canned foods where you can, they drop it into the back and it rolls. And so you're always eating the oldest canned food first, and the newest is always further in the back, and that's how you get a working or rotating pantry. For pet food, just kind of line the bags up. Sometimes we mark them with a Sharpie, but on the dry food side of it, their food lasts roughly a year package wise. That's what it says. You can push it 6 to 8 months after the expiration date on the bag, but not much further. A lot of pet food has a ton of fats in it, and oils that hold nutrition in for your pets, and that's what normally makes it go rancid. So if you don't already have a plan for your pets, 6 months worth of pet food for someone that has one dog and a cat, or a couple dogs or a couple cats, is not going to break the bank. Um, but you've got that 6 months set aside, and after that, you rebuy a bag each month, or however often you go through a bag, you make sure you replace it, right before it goes out. And in the future, if you go through a job loss, a medical emergency, or anything like that, you've got 6 months worth of food for your pets. It's not, am I feeding my pet? Am I feeding myself? Am I paying rent? You're taking one of your financial burdens away for enough time that you should be able to, barring massive medical issues or a job related issue, you have a 6 month window to figure out what you need to do. Magic whiteboard. Okay, so this one I'm seriously considering. I am a very avid coin collector. If you don't look at my other YouTube videos, you just hear for the prepping ones, you should see that I do coin roll hunting videos and I buy silver and grab bags off of eBay and stuff. But buying 2 rolls of dimes, $10 face value in dimes, is a decent amount in silver. A roll of 90% silver dimes is going for a little over 100 these days, anywhere between like $90 and $115. I don't know the exact price of silver. Probably should have looked that one up before I started the video. But it is you've heard the saying, it's a hedge against inflation. It's a store of wealth. And for me, it's part of the retirement plan. I don't remember the first guy that I looked up that was talking about this, but he said that part of his retirement goal is to have his weight in silver. And the guy weighed like 240 pounds. Wasn't quite fat, wasn't quite healthy. He just said he weighed 240 pounds. And he was in his 40s, and I think he was sitting at like 170 pounds of silver. And I did the math on mine, and it comes out to, a good chunk of money within silver. I mean, I'm sitting at 160, 165, so that's a lot of silver, and that's a very ambitious goal to have with stocks and a 401k and whatever else you plan to retire with. And so adding $10 face value of constitutional silver, it's in really small increments, so it can be bartered out easier than a 1 ounce coin. Face value or constitutional silver or junk silver has a lower premium than American Silver Eagles or any foreign sovereign coin or old silver or just generic bars. It tends to have a lower premium, so on the cheaper side of silver to purchase. Whiteboard. Well, according to the whiteboard, I have talked about everything on that list. So that brings us to the end of the video. The only thing that I would ask is, what plans y'all have with this $1,400. I don't think I said in the beginning of the video that we haven't been guaranteed the money yet. So don't go out and spend $1,400 expecting that you're going to have it in, a month, 2 months. Wait till it hits your bank account kind of thing. It's kind of, dealing with the idea of, credit card debt. You've got the credit card and you can spend that money. But just hold off for a little bit, make sure we actually get it. It's looking like we are, but I'm not in Congress. I can't guarantee that we're going to get the money. And even if you don't get it, there is the income tax money that comes in for a lot of Americans. Uh, if we get the stimulus and you get income tax money, you could probably do all the things that I talked about in this video, or maybe you are more ambitious with some of the things that I talked about, so you up the amounts. And that's all I got for you. So if you like the video, if you like what I talked about today, leave a like. If you like what I'm doing with the channel, please consider subscribing. And if this information you think it would be helpful for a friend or family, whether it's educational, nothing really funny in this video, informative for them, or maybe inspirational to get them back into prepping or get them started prepping, then share the video with them. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.